Motivation. How do you get it, and how do you keep it? It's two great questions we're going to answer today as we talk about how to get the big mo, how to keep things moving forward. Hi, I'm Dr. Richard Jolliff. Really glad to have this opportunity to talk with you today here on Leadership to Go. We call this our Leadership to Go, Leadership on the Move. Just quick snippets of leadership training that I do all around the world, and an opportunity to be able to share some of those ideas and thoughts with you. And one of the great things you can do for me, if you would, is subscribe to this channel. And so there's a little place there where you can subscribe here on YouTube. There's also a place where you can like the video, and all of that would be much, much appreciated. And I don't mind getting your comments either. And how do you struggle? How do you get motivated? How do you keep motivation in your life? And what are the things that you have to do? So that's what we're going to get into here today. There are three types of motivators. There's the sensational motivator that's based on conditions, that's using those conditions. The sensational is using the emotion of the moment, the short-term opportunity to create. That's a sensational motivator, and that we can do that with ourselves too. You know, those moments like we come out of watching a Rocky movie, and some really fired up movie that really speaks to us about losers becoming winners, and we're motivated. But that's just a short term. That is definitely not long term. You can watch a exercise video and about someone losing weight and changing their whole life, but that might motivate you for a very short period of time. But once you start feeling pain yourself, will that keep you motivated? More than likely not. So you're going to have to dig a little deeper to find the big mo. There's also the situational motivator, which is based on cause, that we're motivated because of what we're dealing with, the situation that we're facing right now. You know, that would have, like, for example, someone that ends up getting a bad report from the doctor and they say you've got to make some life changes. Well, that too, even though that can create immediate passion, is not a long-term passion creator, excitement creator, motivator, because it's a proven fact in the medical community that most of the people that are even have heart attacks, have quadruple bypass surgery, go through major, catastrophic events in their life, go back to the same patterns that they had prior to that event. And so very few people change out of that to find that motivation. That's what we're going to talk about. So the sustained motivator, this is the one that we want to talk about, how to sustain and keep that big mo. And that happens one way, through character, through developing our character and having strong character in our life. And see, what we do as leaders is, of course, we're motivating people around us. And so we have to realize that we might use one of those aspects all the time, you know, in our leadership training with people, guiding people. Leadership being defined as influence. Those we influence, we might use a short-term, based on conditions situation. We might deal with a situational motivation opportunity because we're dealing with a cause of something that we're very passionate about. Or it could be but we have to realize that to sustain motivation, it has to be based on our character. Number one, the leader is the model. The leader is the model for motivation. Don't wait on people to get motivated. You get motivated. That's key. It is impossible to motivate someone until you've learned to motivate yourself. So if you as a leader are struggling to get motivated, it's going to be real hard to get people to listen to you. So we'll talk a little bit more about how you and I can do that. The number one motivational principle for everybody is people do what people see. If you do it, they'll do it. If you're excited, if you're griping, they're going to gripe. If you're excited, they're going to be excited. If you're looking forward and with great vision, in the midst of all the pandemic that we're dealing with, how are you viewing life right now? What's your world view at this particular moment? Because you as a leader, not only is that influencing you, but it's influencing all the people you influence around you. And you might be in some type of delusion thinking, no, people create their own opinions, and they do, but they use you as an example of that. And so you need to realize that you are really key in helping people with their motivation. So, number one motivational principle: people will do what people see. It's like I've heard one great leader say, I never ask people to do what I myself am not willing to do. And so, if you as the leader are not willing to put the time into it, then people are not going to put the time into it. But they will if you do. Now, they might all not do that, but a lot of them will. All right? So for that to work, you got to know the people that are around you. What motivates you and what motivates others are not necessarily the same. And so you have to find out with people what really triggers them, what really gets them moving the right direction. What do they find in the great scheme of things that you're leading that they could really connect with and really be a part of? And that can be a real challenge, but that's why you have to know people. You have to be able to speak to them. Jesus Christ, when he was calling his disciples, he didn't say to Peter, follow me and I'll make you a baker of bread. He said, follow me and I'll make you a fisher of men. He talked to him about something that he was passionate about and took it to a new level. And that would be the same throughout when we look at the ministry of Jesus. How did he influence people? Well, we as leaders can learn from that we have to find what motivates them and then go after that in their lives. So to do that, we have to ask three questions. Here it is. 1, what do they want? What is it they want? Number 2, can it be achieved? Is it realistic? Is it something that actually can be done? And number 3, will reward come if they are successful? I coached in basketball, and when I coached in basketball, I helped a lot of young men and young women in the high school level reach their goals, to get to that place where they were able to fulfill their dream in their life. Part of the problem that I dealt with is that I had to be careful because I would put my dream, my dream when I played basketball was to be able to go to college and play basketball, not just to play in high school. And so part of the problem that I had to work through is that that's not everybody's dream. That's not what motivates everybody. In fact, one of my players, who was probably one of the best players I ever had, talent-wise, and great scorer, probably I think led the whole area in 23 points a game. And he and I were talking one time, and I was talking to him about some colleges because I was really pushing him to go to college. And he told me, he said, look, he said, Coach, truthfully, he says, I really appreciate everything. He was very respectful, everything that you have done to try to help me. But I really don't want to go to college. That's not my dream. I want to get a job. He had a certain kind of occupation he wanted to get into. And he said, I can make $27,000 a year. This is a kid right out of high school. And so I said, well, son, that's exactly what you need to do that. But see, you see how that if we don't listen to what people are going through or what they're wanting, then what ends up happening is we start putting our own ideas of, well, this is what we want for them. My kids are the same. My children are the same way. I have to be careful that I'm not trying to push them to be something that was my dream. I need to make sure I'm pushing them to reach their dream. What is it they want to accomplish? Maybe they don't know. Nothing wrong with pushing because, maybe they haven't figured it out. But when they do figure it out, when they do figure out the direction they want to go, then you got to start helping them go that direction and don't keep pushing them whatever it is that you want for them. All right. So here's those 3 questions again. I just want to reiterate that to you, and I want you to really think about that. What do they want? Can it be achieved? Is it realistic? Number 3, will reward come if they are successful for them? Will that produce what they want in their lives? So you got to know your people that are around you. That's the only way that you can really create that kind of motivation in people. And the same would be true for you. If you want to reflect that back into you, what do you want? What is it that you want? Can it be achieved? Is it realistic? And then the last part is, will that reward come? Is that reward what you're looking for? Will that be the success that you're looking for? Number three, not only do you need to know your people, but you need to let your people know you. You need to let them know you. And I think that's really interesting. You know, I talked to one of my coaches in my basketball career, and this was later in life. You know, he's in his late 60s at the time, and he said to me, he said, you know, where I really messed up is I didn't let my players know me. I mean, he told us what to do. Believe me, he told us what to do, but he said I didn't really let them know me, know what I'm really all about. And I thought that was really interesting in his reflection. He felt that he could have motivated much, much more instead of threatening us. But by, you know, threatening us and being aggressive towards us, that he could have actually accomplished much more and built much deeper relationships with us by letting us exactly know who he was. And it wasn't that we didn't spend time together. I mean, I spent probably 24 hours, close to 24 hours driving in a vehicle with him before. So it wasn't that we didn't know him, you know, the surface him, but we didn't really know what his passion was, what his real desire was, why he kind of did things the way that he did. So we're always trying to second guess that. You can impress people at a distance, but you can only impact them up close. So get out around the people. That's by Howard Hendricks, great man. And you got to get around them. Learn them. Here's some thoughts with this. Learn them, love them, listen to them, and then lead them. I want to go over that again. Learn them. Learn the people that are around you. The number one way to get people to talk is to get them to talk about themselves, okay? That's the number one way. So sometimes I get in conversations and I can talk a lot, and I can carry a conversation pretty much on my own. And I've been around people that do that. But here's the thing. If you want to learn about other people, let them talk. Show interest in what they're interested in. Listen to them. Then love them. Really care about what's going on in their life. Listen to what's really happening. What are they really struggling with? What are they really trying to find in their life? And then as you listen to them, you learn them, you love them, you listen to them, and then now you can lead them. You can lead them. Another great principle of motivation, and then we'll wrap up for today. Number 4, what gets rewarded is what gets done. What gets rewarded is what gets done. Here's the rules of reward. We reward results, not effort. Okay, so you have to get that off right now on the table. We reward results, not effort, that somebody did something. One of the organizations I lead, the nonprofit I lead, that what we do is that people have goals that they have to fulfill for that year. If they don't fulfill those goals, then when it comes time to evaluate their salary, for increases, then we have to take a look at, did they accomplish? Did they get results? If they didn't get results, I mean, you don't want to reward people for doing nothing. You want to reward people for the results that they accomplish. That creates that kind of pain pleasure idea that if I get this done, then I'm going to get rewarded for this. So you have to make sure in the rules of reward that reward results, but do not give reward effort. Excuse me. So that's that pain pleasure idea. Rewards, number 2, are not equally given. So there is a partiality. We don't just throw out the same reward. Some people are very faithful, very hard workers, put in the time. Those are the ones that get rewarded. And so I'll tell you one of the great conversations that I had one time with one of my professors. And I was taking a class and I was flunking it. And it happened to do with the career that I was pursuing. And here I am, I've got F's on the tests, and I mean, it's terrible. And he wants to have a meeting with me. So I sit down with him and he says, all right, here's the deal. This is what is really messing you up right now. And he said, and it's the fact that you are not putting the time into making this work for you. And I said, you know what? I was kind of ticked at first, but he was right. And you know what I had to do? I dropped the class. I dropped it because I realized that there was no way to dig out. I'm going to end up with a class that's in my career, I'm not going to get it up to a C, okay? I need to have an A in that class. So the next year I came back, took the same class, aced it because I put the time in. So look, rewards are not equally given. They're given to those who get the stuff done. Number 3, rewards are not given prematurely. Don't reward too early. Oh man, they're doing such a good job. I just want them to know how much I appreciate that. Let them finish. Let them finish what they need to do, and then give them the reward that they're supposed to get. And then number 4, give them the reward. Make sure, don't say you're going to do something and then not do it. And if you can't do what you said you were going to do, then make sure that you find something that you can do. You can do. We've had some lean years. Sometimes as an employer, you just have to take a step back and go, I'm not going to be able to give raises this year. So what can I do that can be an encouragement to these guys that I'm rewarding what they did? And then number 5, the greatest rewards are given for team contribution, not individual. And this is really powerful, and we'll stop for today. If we don't learn to reward the teamwork, because it's the teamwork that makes the dream work. Sorry for being so cliche, but if we don't reward that, then what ends up happening is that people just are all each doing their own thing. We want people to work together because none of us is as smart as all of us, and we can definitely accomplish more together than we can separately. So we make sure the greatest rewards are given for team contribution, working together, not just individual. Hey, I want to thank you for being with me today as we're studying about motivation and how to motivate others and how to motivate ourselves. And I just encourage you, as you are seeking to be a better leader, to be a better influencer, that this helps you in that process, being able to accomplish that. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe down below and or put a thumbs up and let me know how much you appreciate it. If you have some thoughts or ideas about how to motivate, include them in the comments. Love to hear from you. Have a great day.